Last week's SmackDown ended with victories for the team of CM Punk and Daniel Bryan against Randy Orton and Baron Corbin, plus some advancements in the ever-expanding SmackDown Tag Team division. After today's episode, we're 2 episodes away from Summerslam. Who on earth's going to be holding all these belts once that's all said and done? Hello and welcome to part 9 of my Total Extreme Wrestling 2016 WWE series. I'm Kev and we're kicking SmackDown off this week with one of those aforementioned tag team matches. We've got a lot of tag teams here on SmackDown now. We're kicking things off with Beer Money versus American Alpha. Solid performances from Beer Money. Really not so much from American Alpha. Establishing Beer Money have got to be, out of these two, the team that we start to push on into that tag team title picture. Beer Money do pick up the win. Bobby Roode pinning Chad Gable after a Roode bomb. We only get 60 as our rating for the match. I may have made a bit of a boo-boo by kicking things off with a match that wasn't going to get a good rating. I can't remember how the overall show is scored, but I think that has to be part of it, which is why I usually start with a promo. If this becomes a problem later, I'll know not to do that again. But we move into our next segment. And our next segment is Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. They're finally up on the main roster again. They're established as a tag team. And they're attacking Jason Jordan and Chad Gable post-match. Luke Harper's not suited to his gimmick because he's come out there as a face because we haven't been able to turn him yet. We're obviously going to turn him as part of this segment. Luke Harper, yeah, there you go. He's foreshadowing his heel turn. I mean, it didn't get much of a rating, but then it's a team who haven't been very good at all in the shape of American Alpha against a team who haven't been a team until just now, and they've been stuck down on NXT. So both of these teams need building, and I'll have to decide which one I want to start pushing to. I mean, it's not neither of these. There you go. Spoilers. Neither of these are going to be involved in SummerSlam, but we could potentially build one or both of these teams towards having some kind of involvement at Survivor Series. So we have Harper and Rowan. They are back on the main roster and they are going to be on SmackDown in this ever-growing tag team division. I like tag team wrestling. It's good. And then we have a segment with Naomi, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Alexa, of course, is now our unified women's champion, and I still haven't learnt from that. I'm gonna have to take the belt off her and release her because I just can't have my Amazon Echo going off every time I mention her. You'd think this series was sponsored by Amazon Echo. It's ridiculous. But Bliss is the champion, and both Naomi and Charlotte Flair are amongst the chasing pack of people who are looking for a title shot at SummerSlam. So we just have your typical back and forth. I want the title. No, I want the title. It's my turn. It's my turn. And Bliss just sort of walks off, leaves into it. She's in no hurry to defend her title. She knows she's going to have a title match at SummerSlam. She doesn't particularly want to be involved in one before then, though. And then we have Daniel Bryan out there. Obviously, he is wrestling again. A picture of him there is in a suit, which is silly. But he's having a pre-match interview. He's got a match coming up next. I think it's against Brian Kendrick. I want to start building Daniel Bryan up. Obviously, he's massively over with the fans, but he's going to have a little bit of ring rust on him, so let's get some matches under his belt. But we have a little bit of a pre-match interview, which of course gets a big pop because it's Daniel Bryan and people are just excited to see him wrestling again. And then we do pick up a Daniel Bryan win against Brian Kendrick. We get a 73 for the match. Bryan coming in with an 86, which is awesome. Kendrick a not so good 45. But he was just there to be fed to Daniel Bryan. Fed to him he was. I'm quite surprised. I'm surprised at my own booking decisions that we've taken 14 minutes for that pinfall to take place. But I guess it's just a way to get a big long match under Daniel Bryan's belt. And that's exactly what he's done. He looks good in the process. And 86 is very good indeed. And it's a strong, strong match involving one of our cruiserweights as well, which isn't going to do Brian Kendrick any harm at all. And now we have another storyline, a little storyline angle. Dolph Ziggler against Bray Wyatt. They've been at each other's throat over the last few weeks. They are very much moving towards a SummerSlam showdown between the two of them. And we just have them going back and forth at each other the way Bray Wyatt does. You know how Bray Wyatt promos go. So we've got Bray Wyatt being weird, Dolph Ziggler playing a proper babyface again, and the crowd are lapping it up. We get a 78. That's 2 really strong segments in a row. This show's starting to take shape now. I only wish I'd started with one of them because I do think that that opening tag match is going to cost us when it comes to the overall rating for the show. And now I can't remember if RVD is a debut or not. I mean, I'm bloating this roster so much now. I have a plan, don't worry, but at the moment we've just got some very bloated rosters. But we have RVD and what's left of the New Day, because Kofi Kingston's still injured. He's going to be injured for a little while. So we have RVD, Big E and Xavier Woods against Breezango and Marty Scurll, because he's a cruiserweight. So although the rest of the Bullet Club are over on Raw, he can appear on SmackDown too. I might have to rethink that one a little bit, but for now I kind of want him as part of the Cruiserweight division and just sort of checking in with Bullet Club every now and again. So we get him involved in a match with some big name people. Same with Breezango. Breezango are rated abysmally on this database. We need to build them up as well. I guess the way to build them up probably isn't having them get beaten, but at least they're involved in a match with some main event level guys, or upper mid-card guys anyway. Woods and Big E both outperforming RVD in ring, which I guess is a sign of RVD's age. And then some fairly terrible ratings for Breeze, Scurll and Fandango. I mean, that's a bit of a problem. It's almost bordering on send them all to NXT. Come back when you can at least consistently get into the 30s. Blooming heck, that's awful. But yeah, that is an RVD debut, I think. So there you go. Rob Van Dam's back in the WWE, and he's on this ever-growing SmackDown roster. And then we have another tag match for our ever-growing tag division, which I think is how we'll continue to refer to it forevermore. We've got the Usos against the Briscoe brothers. The Usos do pick up the win in 12 minutes. Jey Uso pinning Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe again is the weak link. He's going to be the big problem when it comes to pushing the Briscoes, because he's performing well below the standards of the likes of the Usos, the Beer Money guys, the New Day. These top tier tag teams have both got both members who are getting comfortably into the 60s. The Briscoes are going to be held back by Mark Briscoe being stuck down at that level. That's a problem I don't really know how to deal with. So let me know down in the comments what on earth I'm supposed to do about that. But we are starting to see a potential tag title picture for SummerSlam starting to take shape. We've got the New Day as our champions, picking up another win, albeit pairing with RVD. And then the two main challengers emerging in the shape of former champions, the Usos and the Beer Money lot. So we're going to have a showdown between them at some point as we decide what to do going into SummerSlam. But we get a 60 on the match, not a disaster, also not particularly great. And then we have something that is good. We've got a little angle between our four guys who are very much the main event picture. I guess you could probably push Baron Corbin in there as a fifth, but he's only really there by default because he was the Money in the Bank holder. And so we've just got Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal. Similar situation to what we've got with the tag division. We've got Randy Orton just stood there with the title belt over his shoulder looking smug. And all three of these guys probably justifiably explaining why they deserve to have a title shot. Jinder Mahal obviously was the defending champion. He did get completely squashed in his rematch, but we can let him have the being completely squashed because it fitted in with the story at the time, and he's still got justifiable reason to say he should still be part of the title picture. CM Punk defeated Randy Orton's team last week, albeit an injured Randy Orton, which is why Orton's not wrestling this week because he's nursing a shoulder injury. It won't keep him out for SummerSlam, but we are going to protect him a little bit between now and SummerSlam. And Daniel Bryan obviously doesn't really care about the title. He just wants to get his hands on Orton because Orton beat the snot out of him as part of his heel turn. And we're advancing our storyline. The whole thing's gaining heat. It's a strong segment. And Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella are constantly being talked about as a good pairing. So, you know, that's good. Helpful for their marriage. And then we have a pre-match interview with Tamina. I mean, that's going to be the lowest rating segment on any show, really. I don't really know what I was thinking. We should at least pair her with someone who would lend us some star power. As it is, we get a fairly expected 23, especially coming on the back of the segment that it did. This is poor booking, Kev. What are you thinking here? And then we just feed her to Sasha Banks as well. Banks absolutely destroying her, more than double her rating. And again, we've got these top tier women's wrestlers who are making it very clear that they're the ones who are going to be in the mix challenging for somebody's title, whereas Tamina is probably going to have to settle for being part of our new women's tag team division. I can't remember if we've decided on a partner for her yet, though. I'll have to double check. She might have even wrestled on Raw the other day. I tell you what, this whole running two brands thing is confusing, especially when you have some people on both brands. Whose stupid idea was that? And then we move into another segment. This is just a sort of setup for our main event of the evening. So we've got Jinder Mahal, Alberto Del Rio, The Miz, CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, and Ryback. Is that a debuting Ryback? It doesn't look like it's a debuting Ryback. It was a very underwhelming Ryback, which sounds about right when you look at who he's in the ring with. But these are the 6 guys who are going to be involved in tonight's main event. Clearly, the likes of The Miz and CM Punk can't carry a segment completely by themselves because it only gets a 66. It's dragged down by him and these two, probably. So 66 isn't great. But the match that they pull off is perfectly okay. A 72 is an acceptable TV main event. We've got Jinder Mahal, Alberto Del Rio, and The Miz facing CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, and Ryback, and we get the heels winning. Is it? Yes, that's what we're supposed to do. I couldn't remember how I'd booked the end to this match, but it is, and this is crucial, and this is why Ryback was in the match. We get Jinder Mahal picking up a pin with his Yakuza kick. Have I ever seen Jinder Mahal do a Yakuza kick? That might be a throwback to before he was the Jinder Mahal we know now. So Jinder Mahal, who you might have thought was the weakest of the potential title challengers earlier on in the show when they had their promo, ends SmackDown 2 weeks before SummerSlam with a pinfall victory in the main event against a team that contains CM Punk. He doesn't pin CM Punk himself, but he does pin one of his teammates. CM Punk is obviously head and shoulders above everyone else, but the whole purpose of this match was to get a win for Jinder Mahal. That's exactly what we've done. And yeah, performance-wise, Punk is just so far ahead of everyone else. It's ridiculous. I mean, Ryback's not that far behind the rest. He was underwhelming in the segment, but he's up there roughly on a level with the majority of the other guys in this match in ring performance-wise. We've lost a little bit of heat on our WWE title storyline, which is a bit of a shame. I think we are muddying the waters a little bit. We need to kind of narrow this down to an actual #1 contender as soon as possible, but it's difficult to do when our champion's kind of out of bounds. We have to have all these extra people involved. Let you behind the curtain a little bit. 2 episodes of SmackDown ago, Jinder Mahal was just going to lose the title and disappear off down the card. And then Randy Orton picks up his injury and, okay, we either bring Baron Corbin in or we keep Jinder Mahal in. Baron Corbin got his opportunity last week and was rubbish. So now, again, rewriting, thinking on the fly, right, let's get Jinder Mahal back in this title picture. And now we have to push him and make him look strong. And running a wrestling company is complicated. It's not as easy as the likes of me and Vince McMahon make it look sometimes. But that closes out the show. We get a 65 on the show overall. I think, to be fair, we are hampered by that opening segment. We need to make sure we're starting with a strong main event level promo, I think, to push this up overall. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable used too much. They lost the match and then got beaten up. I mean, if that's using them too much, it really is. I can hear NXT calling from here. And apparently we don't have enough storylines going on and we've lost popularity. I can only do so much. I thought, in the circumstances, it wasn't a disastrous show. Apparently, I was wrong. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.